And this is what $500,000 buys you in San Jose, California. I'm going to take you back on exactly how I was introduced to the homeowner and introduced to the designer and everyone like that. So there's this dude named Evan, and he created this very nice organic design with a lot of pretty plans and super clean cut lines. And then he reached out to a bunch of contractors, and out of the 3 or 4 contractors that he reached out to, I think him and I connected the best, and he recommended me to the homeowner. And then I met the homeowner, and they seemed so nice, so awesome, very easygoing, super nice to work with. And the homeowner decided to hire me, which was pretty good. I like that part. And this was the very first day we started. Now, you saw that big, massive hole. We had to really, really be careful with that hole, and I did make a mistake. I should have compacted it even better with just straight up base rock, but we decided to do it with fill soil, which I don't know why. That was probably a big mistake. That mistake right there ended up costing me probably $5,000, because in the middle of the job, after California went through this horrific rain season, the area by the pool started sinking, and that's the area where we put dirt in. And I told Jesus, I'm like, man, we made a blunder. That was a super big mistake. So we had to take out a bunch of that, which you'll see later on in the video exactly where they're working right now, and we had to put in base rock. So that set us back a lot of time, and as you know, time is money. The most expensive thing in the landscaping industry is not materials, is not gas, it's not payments on equipment, it's labor. If you can minimize the labor cost on each job, you will make more money. Now let's just break down some simple math. If you have a $1,500 a month payment on a piece of equipment like this Caterpillar right here, and this Caterpillar can move soil, move earth, move stone, move rocks, that Caterpillar broken down to a weekly payment is actually $375 a week. Divided by 40 hours a week, that there Caterpillar, $1,500 a month that everyone's so afraid of, is actually $9 an hour. Now tell me what quality employee that you'll ever have in your life will be $9 an hour, never complains, never shows up sick. Well, not never. Sometimes the machine will get sick. It'll need to go in for service. Sometimes needs an oil change, maybe some new shoes, but majority of the time, it will have a good attitude. It will be reliable. It'll always show up. It'll start 99% of the time, especially when you buy brand new. I don't want to hear people say, ooh, my piece of equipment that I have always breaks down. Yeah, it's because it's 1983, dude. You need to get something that is from 2020, 21, 22, even like 19, 18, 17, 16. Those are all fine. Those machines are new. They're built to last. Their hours are low, and they've just seen good days, not these beat up 1983 track loaders that just look like hell. See, the boys right now have all the tools they want, all the tools they need, and they're able to lay down these pavers pretty quickly. And I want to give a special shout out to Jesus. Jesus is the crew leader on this job site, and he's actually, fun fact about Jesus, he's been with Applewood the longest. So I started Applewood by myself with me and a guy named Carlos, which a lot of you know. And then in month 4, we met Jesus. And Jesus was working at a place doing irrigation work, I think with his dad. And he was making like 16, 17 bucks an hour. And I told him, I'm like, hey, dude, if you can come help me do irrigation, because I was always lost with irrigation. I could not even think how irrigation worked. I used to look up videos, and then sometimes I used to do it and I used to mess it up. But he knew how to do lights, he knew how to do irrigation, controllers, timers, and I thought it would be such a great offer for him to come help, and he did. He accepted my offer of 20 bucks an hour, which now he's making way, way, way more than that. But at the time, that was a lot of money for me, and for him, that was a lot of money. This is 2016. I would say April of 2016 is when I met him, and he came on the team. And I was worry-free when it came to timers, because one of the jobs that I did, I was so scared because the homeowner wanted me to install it was a Rainbird timer and connect it to his irrigation valves. Now, Carlos knew how to do all that, but I didn't know how to do the timer. So what I did was go to the irrigation store, talk to the guy behind the counter, And I said, hey, dude, can you please come help me install this thing? I'll pay you $100 cash. And he's like, really? Where? And I was like, it's like 15 minutes away from here. And he's like, yeah, I'll be there at 5:45. So he came there. He was there for literally 15 minutes. He installed this timer, walked the homeowner through it, set up the programming, and left. And I gave him $100. I think it was the fastest $100 he's ever made. But I was so happy because I was like, what a good offer. I just got something done that I have no idea how to do. Sometimes, especially in business, in the beginning when you start, what's more important than money is actually confidence. Building up your confidence of knowing that you have the ability from go to job to job to job. And the more jobs you can recycle through, the better you will feel about your industry, the better you feel about yourself, the easier you'll go to sleep at night knowing that you're actually on the right path. Example, I always tell this to the people in GoKing. If you ever get an opportunity to do a landscaping job for $200,000 your very first year, I always say turn that job down, and I would much rather you do 20 $10,000 jobs your first year rather than one $200,000 job your very first year. Because let's face it, if you have a customer for that $200,000 job and everything goes south, you will hate your life. You'll hate your... Okay, here's a perfect example. Imagine you have this job right here. And this job, the customer... Well, this particular job, the customer was fantastic. There was no problems with them. They were awesome. They were super easygoing. They actually took advice from me, and they listened to Jesus and the designer. They were kind of just out of the whole construction. They just let us do what we do best, right? But, example, let's say this customer right here was a nightmare to work with. They were always picky, always riding your ass, out there micromanaging every single little paver you install. Just super annoying to you and your people. You actually will hate landscaping after your first year, and you'll be very discouraged, very sad, and you'll be like, dude, I don't know if landscaping is right for me. I think I chose the wrong industry, and you'll be in this limbo garbage stage of your life. Whereas you have 20 $10,000 jobs, sure, of course you're going to run into a job that is going to have a bad customer. But the good news is, instead of that bad customer ruining your life for an entire year, that customer only ruins your life for maybe a week, week and a half, 2 weeks. And that right there is a good offer. That's why I suggest doing smaller jobs in the beginning so you can recycle and run through them, because you need numbers. And you'll build your confidence, you'll build your skill set much better, and you'll have really good data going forward when you actually start these bigger jobs. Because let's face it, my first, second, third year, this designer and the customer would never even think to hire me and the Applewood team to do this job, because I just was not qualified, because I didn't have the reputation, I didn't have the pictures, I didn't have the social media. I didn't have a track record. And that's the most important thing, especially in the beginning. You have to build a track record. And a lot of people there always say, well, dude, I've been doing landscaping for like 6 years and I'm stuck at like these $50,000 jobs. Okay, if you're stuck at those $50,000 jobs, probably it's because you don't market very well, because you're one of those dudes that is in the craft all the time, and you're installing pavers and you're loving it, and I'm an artist and pavers are my thing. I love landscaping, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's good. You can love landscaping, but you have to understand that we live in an age of TikToks and social media and pictures, and people are always on their phone. Like right now, you're on your phone, literally right now. If you're on your phone right now and you're complaining about social media and, oh, I'm not on Facebook. If Facebook's for old people, Instagram is the devil, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, some of that is true, but also some of that is just total garbage, because my life changed completely with social media. I got the right information. I got the right people in my life. I was introduced to a certain quality of person, and I began to model after those people and see what they're living like, how they're living. And like, I am a millennial, so it's already, social media is ingrained into my blood. However, I will tell you this, I remember my sophomore year in high school, I got my very first phone, and it was a Motorola Razr. And I thought I was the coolest badass that ever walked the face of the earth, because when I was 18, which was my senior year, the iPhone came out, the iPhone 1. This was 2008. And that right there was a complete game changer. And I had to witness the whole iPhone smartphone game come up. And I was there for it. But sadly, I didn't have an iPhone. I got an Android, which was the wrong move. If you have an Android right now, you're a loser. And that's really just the truth in business. When you're in business, and especially as a business owner, manager, drivers, anyone on your team that you need to communicate with the most, you need to give them the best technology you possibly can. Now, do you need to go give them an iPhone 13 Pro Max, 1 terabyte, 16 terabytes? No. But you can go get them an iPhone 12, iPhone 13, iPhone 14. And it doesn't have to be the super maxed out one, but it needs to be new, because what they do, it's not really hidden secret, is they make the phones lag a little bit. And I knew a general contractor that was doing millions and millions of dollars a year, and I did a job for him many times. Great guy. But 3 years ago, he had an iPhone 7, and his phone used to drop calls all the time. His memory used to be full. He has to always go and delete pictures. His phone used to crash. And I was just like, bro, I'm like, why doesn't this guy go get a new phone? I don't understand. I used to tell him all the time, I'm like, why don't you go get a new phone? You need a new phone. He's like, oh, no, this one works. I'm like, it's literally not working. I'm like, you need a new phone. And he's like, eventually, finally, after his phone completely took a dump and would not start, he goes to get a new phone. And I saw him with a brand new one, and he said, you know what? I should have had this a long time ago. Same in business. If you need your people to communicate well with you, you need to have great communication lines with him. Get them new technology, a laptop, a cell phone, whatever they need. Oh, this is the mess up right here that I was telling you about. Okay, right, we missed it. Right here. So what happened, the paver started sinking, so we literally had to rip out all of this. And as you see, we're putting in base rock, compacting it with a jumping jack, layers of geogrid, more base rock, more geogrid. I mean, this thing's not going anywhere anymore. And I should have done this in the first place. For some reason, we got the bright idea to get engineered soil and put soil in there. That was stupid. That was a mistake. Learning lesson for me, for the boys from now on. Every single time you do a hole around a pool somewhere that needs to be filled and compacted, use base rock and compact the hell out of it every 6 inches. That way you don't have problems like this. Because as you see, this took about 4 guys an entire week to do. And that right there was not cheap. That probably cost me 10, 15, 20 bands. I don't even know. I actually don't want to do the math on that because I'm scared. And I'd rather not know things sometimes. But I know what that cost. That was very expensive. Move for sure. Okay. The designer, he went out and he got a bunch of plants for us. And he sourced them from a bunch of nurseries around the area. And they were actually really nice. I like the vibe of the plants. Super natural, super organic, and chill. Finally, the polymeric sand. That's when you know things are coming along nicely. Is when you start doing the poly sand. Everything starts moving properly. Got the metal edging in. And these are called podocarpus, I think they're called podocarpus. Putting in the extra pavers that we had left over, and this was the homeowner's idea, by the way. And he said, "You know what, T? Why don't we just do this?" And I was like, "That's actually a great idea. I love it." It just added a nice little flair to the project, and it looks good. It's very welcoming, especially from the street. You can just walk on up, boom. Look, everything is a little bit wet here. I told you this before. California had some of the worst rains ever that I've ever seen. But somehow we still got this job done. I didn't make a killing on this job. I'm not going to lie to you. I probably did maybe 10, 12% on this job, which is not the greatest. but there was so much rain, so wet, cold, and we made that one big mistake by the pool, and that pretty much ate up a lot of the profit, which not ideal, but sometimes it is what it is. Now, after the time lapse, the job is finished, and I'm very excited to show you this incredible project. I'm going to walk you through the front. It's just generic, kind of basic, but still fancy. Don't get me wrong. But it has a few things in here that are one of my favorites. First is this. We had a bunch of pavers left over, and the homeowner's like, let's make something cool here. I have no idea what happened with the sidewalk. It literally just went into shit. I don't know what happened. We put 3 of these in here. 1, 2, 3. And then put these plants required by the city, and then comes the techo block. These are very large, grand, awesome. I'm gonna show you pictures of it at nighttime with these lights on, so you'll see it. But the stoop is really cool because all made out of techo block, super modern, super clean, is very minimalist type of vibe. And we have just a grass area, mulch. So, I mean, there's not much in the front, boys. The real action is in the backyard. And this tree, to be honest, I don't know how I feel about this tree. It's kind of ugly, but whatever. Not my place to say what tree stays or goes. Downspouts right into a underground drainage system. And yeah, okay, that's it. That's pretty much it. Let's go over here. Hop, hop, bam, bam. House is painted. Driveway, gate. Now let's hop over to the other side. We're here on the other side of the gate. The gate does have an automatic opener, as you see here, but it's not ready yet. So the entire design was supposed to be large format pavers like this everywhere. However, when we're going to install it, we realized that these pavers are not driveway rated. So we had to opt out for the 6x13 pavers, which is fine. Not a big deal. Over here is a dog run. They had some plumbing issues, so they had to take the turf out. So these pavers are much smaller than the ones over here. So what the designer did is he came up with this cool layout right here that has 3 pavers side by side, and it separates this area from this area, which is legit. And now for the moneymaker, the pool. This was supposed to be here to entertain the kiddos, have a big area to play, and then they have a grass area with a lot of trees and very natural look. So standing from this side looking this way is pretty sweet. Come look at this. That's a very good view. Super natural, very organic. The designer chose plants that were very California, attracted a lot of bees, which is awesome. See, there's my friend. He's not a honeybee, so he's not really my friend. That's a mean bee. Over here are planters with some bell peppers and then other things like that. Tomatoes, which we must have 1 tomato for the camera. Organic. By the way, if you ever do planters, you have to do them in redwood. I see a lot of people doing planters in PT, and that's not a good offer because we don't eat these. That's fine, but these are now organic. And then pool equipment. Boring here. But yeah, boys, this is how it's done. I love this project. It was one of my favorites. We went through a lot of difficult times, difficult things in there because we were fighting with California rain through, I would say, the toughest winter that I've ever been through, and the toughest winter a lot of other contractors have been through in about 20 years in California because it literally rained for 3 months. It was crazy. And we had to tarp and plastic everything so we could work, but it's done, it's finished. The customer's very happy. It was a joy to work with them, and most importantly, this backyard is absolutely fantastic. One of my favorites. Add it to the portfolio, and here is a slideshow of all the pictures. This was the very first time that I've ever hired a professional photographer to come out and do this, and he actually charged me $800 for this. And to be honest, I always thought, I'm like, dude, $800, that's kind of crazy just for some photos. But in reality, he spent maybe 10 hours doing this. And now that after I see these pictures, I'm like, wow, $800 is well worth it. And on all my high-end projects, I will definitely have him do these, because this just changes the whole game. And if you're watching this and you want to learn how to do projects like this, it's quite simple. Reach out to me, join Goat Gang. I have courses, programs where I sit down with you one-on-one for 2, 3, 4, 5, 12 hours, and I teach you every single thing I've learned along the way, and I guide you. It's pretty much a shortcut, so you don't have to make the same stupid mistakes I did my year 1, year 2, year 3, and obviously you're still going to make mistakes, but you can just avoid all the dumb ones and just fast forward to really growing and expanding your landscape journey. And that, my friends, is the only place to go. goatgang.net. Here's the link. Get in. Promise you, it'll change your life.